Yo, what's good? So yeah, here I am, launching my own little Muggy Mike show, The Line of Credit. I think it sounds fancy, to be fair. Hopefully I could build up a nice small following of loyal listeners who I can interact with. I don't intend to grow this show, to be honest. I just want to stick to a small group of people, mainly UK based and between the age of 20 and 40. The loyalty of a passionate few. I'm new to this podcast world, and to be honest, it's probably not a wise move from someone with Asperger's and a small speech impediment. But hey ho, better to try and fail than not try at all. So I'd appreciate any tips and advice on what I'm doing wrong. Also, any questions you guys want or have based on markets, investments, or the economy, feel free to give us an email or message and I'll try and answer them. I thought it'd be wise to give a disclaimer. I don't need the FCA goons knocking at my door. So none of my shows should be deemed as investment and or financial advice. Everything I offer is either opinionated, factual data or theoretical. Nothing should be conceived as advisory or a form of investment. I don't manage other people's money and I do not promote and or offer any investment advice, services or products. Do your own homework, mate. So then, the UK housing market. Half of us are shitting it due to house prices potentially falling, and the other half of us are getting orgasms thinking we're going to get some good deals on the property or rent. One could argue that the UK housing market will soon be a mini version of the dividedness witnessed with Brexit, Trump, the trans issue, even toppling statues, and all the other events that have divided us and will divide us. As we speak, millions of people want lower house and rent prices. At the same time, millions of people don't want lower house and rent prices. They want higher house prices and they want to push up the rent that they charge. House prices falling and rent prices falling means those who own homes and those who are landlords, and there's a hell of a lot of people, millions across the UK, these people will witness a lot of their wealth falling. They could either enter negative equity. And these people don't want this. Of course they don't. If you own a home, are you going to want that falling in value? If you own a second or third home or a property portfolio, are you going to want the rent price that you charge your renters to fall? No. And this matters more than most things. People may not think it matters, but it does. What do you care about more? Brexit or your house or rent price? You're going to care about your house price or the rent that you pay. Do you care about your house price or the rent you pay more than the Tory leadership race? Yes, you probably do. What matters to you more? Ukraine or your house price or the rent that you pay? It's going to be your house price and the rent that you pay. The housing market matters to everyone. Silly political events, Brexit and Ukraine only matter to a minority. The housing market is a big factor in the UK economy and within the UK society. As they say, when your neighbour is unemployed, you don't really care. But when you're unemployed, you will sure care. More of the story, we only care about the things that matter to us and the things that directly affect us. It's not a bad thing. It's not maliciousness or nasty in any way. It's human nature. It's in our DNA. If the whole economy were to collapse tomorrow and money were to cease to exist, we'll all be killing each other to eat some food. That's the reality of life. Maybe we ought to understand our animal instinct more. But that's another topic. I could say to you, now don't take this as personal, any of you guys. I could say to you that I want your £300,000 home to fall to £150,000 because I want millions of people to buy houses, and I want the next generation of Brits to acquire wealth. Lower house prices achieves that. I want this because I'm a redistributionist. I believe in wealth equality and I believe in the free market. I want to end rigging within the property market. I want more fairness, balance and natural price discovery. House prices falling 50% achieves all of these. Now you hate me for saying this. Oh, you prick, how dare you say you want my house price to drop half in value? And you will be right in doing so. Because that's your hard earned wealth vanishing. You could even enter negative equity. It's quite a dire situation, to be fair. But I believe that my reason behind why I want your house price to fall, that reason will be accepted by you. I believe you want the next generation or your children to have the opportunity to buy cheap homes. I believe that you want more Brits to own houses, and I believe that you believe in equality, fairness and balance. You just don't want to see your wealth wiped out to achieve these. Total logical and totally rational. Looking at it from this perspective does provide people with a different insight. Many people agree that house prices going up is a good and a bad thing, and house prices going down is also a good and a bad thing. It's a double-edged sword. This is why I'm an advocate for the free market, and the property market needs a big dose of free market economics. The irony in all of this is that many are now concluding that a dose of free markets within the UK property market will redistribute wealth towards renters and first-time buyers. I'll give you an example in a minute. These people tend to reside within the working class, or they tend to be under the age of 40. Millennials and Generation Z. All socialists and leftists across this land should be advocating for the housing market to crash, and they should be advocating for the state not to intervene in the mortgage market, because there's a probability that that might happen. They should be calling for a free market stroke libertarian style correction within the property market, because a free market stroke libertarian style correction within the property market will help many first time buyers and renters who tend to be millennials, Gen Z and the working class. Trickle down economics, eat your heart out, mate. House prices crashing will trickle down a lot of wealth to those on the lower wage scale and to millions of people under the age of 40. Rent prices falling trickles down capital from landlords to renters, and landlords tend to be on the higher scale of the capitalist layer cake. Renters tend to be on the lower scale on the capitalist layer cake. Literally, you can't make this shit up. Here it is in plain sight. This will all occur if prices fall, and many won't argue that. Maybe us libertarians and free marketeers ought to start flying the red flag, eh? Let's put the hammer and sickle on the red flag of freedom and free markets. I can imagine many of my lefty mates doing their nuts in at me saying that. Oh, and by the way, all of you who are asking yourselves, why will higher interest rates on the lower house prices help people? Because many people have said that. How will higher interest rates help those who are renting and first-time buyers? I'll simply explain. I would rather pay a 6% rate on a 100k home than a 3% on a 200k home. Why is that? Because my deposit buys double the equity. 20 grand as savings equates to 10% on a 200k home. But 20 grand in savings equates to 20% deposit on a 100k home. My deposit buys double the equity. The risk falls and the reward rises because I'm taking on less money as a debt. And my monthly repayments will be lower on a 100 grand loan compared to a 200 grand loan. I get all of these in return. I have to pay higher interest rates. To me, that's a very good trade in my eyes. The reward outweighs the risk. Higher interest rates, but I receive 4 perks. Where do I sign up? So yes, higher interest rates caused lower house prices, and this created many positive effects. The 90s is a perfect example of this. That's how our parents got onto the housing market and all owning big 300, 400, 500 grand homes now, even though they were paying 6, 7, at some points 12% in interest rates, because they were paying a higher interest rate on a lower priced home. Now let me show you an example. A scenario where UK rent prices fall 20%. Look how much capital will be redistributed away from landlords and back to renters. To be specifically, the figure is £980 million per month, £11.8 billion per year, 0.4% of the UK GDP. So as we speak, there's 4.4 million renters across the UK. They pay on average monthly rent £1,113, which totals £4.9 billion per month. Over 12 months, that's £58.8 billion, going from 4.4 million renters all to landlords. That equates to 2% of the UK GDP. Now, let's look at a scenario. House prices fall 20% across the whole of the UK, across the board. That £1,113 a month rent falls to £891 a month. Now let's work this out. 4.4 million renters times £891, that equals £3.92 billion per month. Over 12 months, that's £47 billion. That's £980 million per month, redistributed away from landlords and back to renters. Over 12 months, that equates to £11.8 billion. Redistributed away from landlords, back to renters. In a scenario based on rent prices falling 20% across the board. Imagine how much tax receipts that will create. Because landlords, they don't pay no tax, maybe a little bit of tax, but they don't pay, compared to workers and spenders, they pay basically zero tax. Imagine that £11.8 billion going direct into the UK economy. We're talking about tax receipts of north of £2.5 billion. We are. Imagine how many jobs £11.8 billion can create. Imagine the consumption that we will see from that. So yeah, a 20% fall across the whole of the UK in rent will redistribute billions away from landlords back to renters. By the way, I'll put this date on my personal Twitter page and the Line of Credit Twitter account I'm going to get my student to create. But you'll see the numbers and you'll see in your own eyes. So yeah, there we have it. Me throwing my 2p opinion in. I hope many of you can understand the logic to my theory and views. Don't hate me, understand me. And no, it's not because I'm short in the housing market. Housing stocks have crashed roughly 50% this year, and that trade is soon coming to an end. By January or summer 2023, I'll probably be buying housing stocks. What you guys must remember is that the market works 6 to 12 months in advance to the real economy. What you see happening now in the market tends to play out in the real economy 6 to 12 months down the line. We see that with inflation. They printed a lot of money throughout 2020, and that inflation and that money went into the markets, pushed asset prices up, and then throughout 2021 that inflation started to seep into the real economy, and throughout 2022 that inflation is being realised much more, not within the UK economy, but within the global economy. Traders see this crash coming. They've seen this crash coming for quite a while now. If I, a small-time schmuck who trades his own money, if I see this coming, then I'm sure many much more superior traders and funds have also seen this coming. To be honest, I'm quite surprised that politicians haven't seen this coming. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if a few have, but majority of them haven't. This is going to hit them like a brick wall, especially the Tory party, because the Tory party, their base, they own houses. They do, and many of them own more than one house. And they're not going to be happy to see these fall in value. Especially when the root cause of it is Liz Truss. Although globally and even nationally, Liz Truss isn't the root cause of this. She just triggered it. She didn't cause it. But mainstream media and the opposition parties will not position it like that. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and do keep listening. I'd appreciate a little follow on the social media. Every little follower helps. And I hope you have a prosperous and productive week. So until the next show, laters.